You're listening to episode 57, my exclusive interview with Sabrina Osso, founder and CEO of Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, work, and play. Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally show, sharing God's prescription for total health in spirit, soul, and body. I'm your host, Rekishia McMillan, award-winning author, Air Force veteran, and total health coach. I'm passionate about sharing biblical truth, scientific research, and practical lifestyle approaches to help heal your world naturally. In this exclusive interview, I had the opportunity to host Sabrina Osso. Sabrina is the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. She's a TEDx speaker, domestic violence speaker, real estate agent, and consultant on promoting safety and preventing violence in the workplace, schools, and in places of residence. Sabrina's personal and professional experience with the subject allows her to bring a unique and holistic approach for employers, landlords, tenants, students, and teachers. As a real estate agent for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Abbott Realtors, she is bridging the real estate industry with Osso Safe. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the show TEDx speaker, real estate agent, and domestic violence speaker, Sabrina Osso.
Thank you so much, Rekishia, for having me on your show. I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, I look forward to hosting you on the show today.
Me too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I am ready with questions and answers, and I know everybody has safety on their mind, so we're definitely going to talk about that.
Awesome. And so before we get into answering some of those questions, Sabrina, can you just let our audience know what you're doing in your life right now that is rocking your world naturally?
Yes, I would say what I'm doing with my business is definitely rocking my world. I I will talk about it more during the interview, but I'm very excited about my business and the progress that it's making, although it has its challenges for sure. But I would say that that's the best way to answer that question for me right now.
Absolutely. And so the business or the services that you provide, Sabrina, are so timely and so needed, in our world today. So you're the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. So can you share a little bit about what you do and how you help families, businesses, our community um, with their safety?
Sure. Um, I want to point out that I am not a nonprofit. I'm not a charity. I am a business, and that was intentional. We respect all of the nonprofits and charities that do deal with domestic violence, but we have a very different approach because we combine education and technology to promote safety and prevent violence in the workplace, schools, and in places of residence. And so I'm a speaker and consultant on promoting safety and preventing violence in those three markets. We focus on schools / universities, workplaces, and places of residence. And just to give you a little bit of background, Osso Safe was actually born from a one-woman show that I wrote, choreographed, and performed because I am a dancer. And I started late dancing due to my chaotic environment. I am a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis, and I couldn't even think about dance until I moved out, basically. And and as I was writing my show, I did a lot of research for it. It's a one-woman show. I basically play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. But the show ends really strong, really empowering. And I did a lot of research for the show, and I could not believe the statistics that I was finding. And I said to myself, I need to make this into a business with bona fide services and products so I could really make an impact on people's lives, whether they're going through violence or not. So, and that's how Osso Safe was born, really. And we have several products out there, but our main one, our focus is in residency, in real estate. The real estate industry, if you will. And I could talk about the actual product now, or if you want me to talk about it later. But this is something that we're introducing into the real estate industry, mainly in the landlord tenant portion of the industry, because it's the path of least resistance right now. But we want this to propagate over all residency. Yeah, so I hope I answered your question, Rekishia.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You did, Sabrina. And so many times, what we've been through, the pain that we have been through becomes a platform. And many times it helps us to become resilient, as well as kind of sets that path for our direction in life. And for you, out of your pain, out of the trauma that you experienced, you're able to help other individuals, whether they are in home, whether it's in schools or in our communities, that you're able to really provide a service that's so needed.
Thank you, Rekishia. Yes, like I said, well, as I say in my podcasts, interviews, speaking engagements, seminars, and workshops, everything starts in the home. Everything starts in your place of residence. Whether you live in a townhouse, a co-op, a condo, a single-family home, a multifamily dwelling, a two-family home, a villa, a mansion, a mobile home, everything starts from the home. So if your home is not safe, then where are you going to be safe? So as soon as you leave, you're born and you're in the hospital, you're born, and you go to your place of residence. Well, that place of residence needs to be a loving, nurturing, respectful, disciplined, kind, safe atmosphere. So if it's not, then you are on the road to a lot of discord, upset, violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, and that's not how it should be. We're saying to the real estate industry, look, Mr. and Miss Landlord, hire us, Osso Safe. We will get your properties Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? That the landlord will purchase the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package. This package consists of a policy, a seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the building. The policy is basically saying, and this policy is an addendum to existing leases / mortgages, if you will. It's saying, I, as a landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You, in turn, as my tenant, you promise to not act in any way, shape, or form that is abusive. Otherwise, you, the abuser only, gets immediately evicted from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. What are the advantages for a landlord? You mitigate liability, you maintain property reputation, your vacancy rates will drop, and your tenants will feel safe. Then we have a seminar for all tenants, both new and existing, and we go over facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse. the difference between abuse and discipline, just to name a few items. Instead of leaving it to the wind, tossing it up to chance, we're saying, as part of the package, we will educate all of your tenants. We don't single anyone out. We just do a blanket education for everybody. That way, they practice safety. They practice how to be non-abusive, because quite frankly, a lot of us aren't taught that, really. It's assumed that we know, but we don't. Then the third portion of that package is an app. And that app is actually being updated as we're speaking, but it will detect violent-like movements and captures them in real time, issuing alerts. So a landlord, let's say, has 10 units, and he or she will get an alert. Wow, in unit 2 and in unit 10, I just saw him beat the crap out of her, or she just beat the crap out of her children. Well, this is grounds for eviction. You signed the policy, you took the seminar, you know that you are in an Osso Safe certified property, you're held to a higher regard, a higher standard. You know that this is a different way of operating, of residency, if you will. So this keeps everybody in check. Then we have assigned therapists to the building as a regular part of residency, and you are required as a resident to check in with your therapist once a month. Is everything okay? Do you see that anything is looming? Let's say your son comes home and says to you, well, look, mom or dad, I'm gay. What are you going to do? Are you going to beat him? Are you going, or her? Are you going to verbally disparage them? No, because you are held to a higher regard, a higher standard. You are not going to resort to any verbal, physical, or sexual abuse. You're going to work it out with the therapist, and it's a part of residency. And this is where the prevention aspect comes in. This is what sets us different, or sets us aside from everybody else everybody else out there, if you will. We focus on prevention, on safety, versus waiting for an episode of violence to occur, cops coming to the residence, and then the whole building is in an uproar, and you're either dealing with damage to the property, injury to your tenant, or in the worst case, a murder. So we're flipping the script, if you will, on residency as a whole. I hope I answered your question, Rekishia.
Yes, you did. And I absolutely love the integrated approach that you're providing education as well as that therapeutic component by actually assigning a therapist, because many times individuals may not go out and seek therapy on their own. And there are a lot of internal issues, emotional issues, trauma that they have not dealt with, because hurt people hurt other people. And 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, that does take place within our home, within the places of residence. And so connecting, individuals, tenants, landlords, the community to therapists, I think is a phenomenal aspect. And it is a component that truly sets Osso Safe apart from other safety companies.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I actually, I never heard of that. Hurt people hurt other people. I never heard that. I have to remember that. Yeah, I think back to when I was a child and growing up, and I say to myself, what would have helped me? What would have really made a difference for me personally? And I have to say, and I'm not trying to be narcissistic by any means, in any way, shape, or form, but I wish I had my own products and services when I was growing up, because my father would not have gotten away with half the things he got away with. And with therapy, we are big proponents of therapy at Osso Safe. And we say to people, don't give up. Not all therapists are created equal. You may have to try on a few for size. Let that be okay. Let that be okay. But once you find that therapist And we definitely vet our therapists, and we give people a choice, if you will. We have a few therapists assigned to the building, so that way people have a choice, and it's just a part of residency. Because to tell you the truth, who can say they're not dealing with something, especially these days with COVID. Everybody is dealing with something, whether it be past trauma, as you said, whether it be and then on the current level, if you're dealing with a death in the family, someone who's sick, a past trauma, maybe you're getting bad grades at school, you're being bullied, you're being cyberbullied, you're dating someone that is abusive, or you really are not sure. Maybe you're in the middle of a divorce. Maybe you're dating someone that is not the person that you thought. I mean, every, every one of those examples, it helps to have a therapist, and you can get through it in a much better way than leaving it up to yourself, and then having to suffer consequences when a therapist could have alerted you, look, this is a red light here. Are you sure you want to do this? So I feel like if I had this, my reality as a child would have been much different on a positive note, you know.
And I'm sure that there are so many that are even listening right at this moment, Sabrina, and they're thinking about their own personal situation and how, whether it's, getting this type of education or being able to connect with a therapist, to be able to talk to someone, to work out the issues, to prevent so much of what we see taking place, whether it is, domestic violence, child abuse, even sexual abuse within the home, just so many different things that could totally be prevented because there's a different path, there's a different approach to ensuring the safety of everyone that's living under that particular place.
Right, exactly. And I like that you brought up that point. As we say at Osso Safe, there's no shame in getting help. There's shame in not getting help. So we try to focus on that, and we try to educate everyone that's before us that it's like a regular part of wellness. Everybody talks about wellness and being healthy. Well, we need to include, and I'm glad in a way COVID has brought that to the surface, that your mental health affects everything. Your body, your state of mind affects your physicality, your physical being, your how you feel, whether you want to get up in the morning, whether you are depressed, anxious, fearful. Your state of mind is very important, and it affects your body. There's so many studies now that science links cancers, asthma, depression, anxiety, Parkinson's disease, so many physical ailments to your mental health, really. Like if you had trauma as a child and you didn't deal with it, you haven't come to terms with it, it'll catch up with you in your adulthood, and it'll manifest in chronic back pain or sciatica, or maybe like allergies or cancer. And it's not separate. It has to do with what happened to you or what you're dealing with now. And we encourage, that's why we make it easy. Look, now it's a part of your residency. They're right there. You're required to call or text or email your therapist once a month just to check in. It's a regular part, it's part of your rent, if you will. And we want this to propagate across the board. But like I said, we're introducing this, and we're trying to take the path of least resistance. And so this makes it easier for people to, yes, to get a therapist, to like, I don't have the excuse now that, oh, where am I going to get one? Where do I start? They're right there. It's a part of
Mhm.
your residency now. And I know me on a personal level, if it wasn't for my therapist, I would not be here. I definitely would have committed suicide. I was very suicidal from 16 to 19 years old, and I
Mm.
confided in a friend in college, at university, and she cried with me the whole time I was speaking to her because I felt safe enough with her to
Yeah.
say to her everything that's been happening at in my household. And she said to me, Sabrina, you need to see a therapist. You need to talk to someone. And I
Yeah.
said to her, yeah, but I'm not the one who's being violent. It's my parents. And she said, yes, but if you go get help, it'll be helping your parents. And
Mm.
that really resonated with me. And I mustered up the courage. And believe me, I want to say to your audience, to your listeners, it's normal to say, what am I doing this for? What if somebody sees me? This is stupid. I don't need a therapist. I'm scared. What if the therapist tells me things that I don't want to hear? All of that. I had all of that, but
Mm.
I mustered up the courage, even in spite of all that noise, to just make the appointment and try it out. And and so I did. And to this day, I see the same therapist after university. I saw Dr. O'Connell, and she said to me, "You need to continue therapy." And from
Mhm.
that point on, I still see the current therapist that I have many years later, off and on, and she has helped me tremendously. So I'm hoping that to your listeners, I'm just trying to practice what I preach.
Mm.
That it works. It works, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I really like the component that you have in there that tenants are required to do a wellness check at least once a month. And I think that's so important because if we think about our lives in general, we have a maintenance plan for our cars and we take them for regular oil changes, knowing that if we don't change the oil, if we don't get the repairs that are needed for the vehicle, sooner or later, that vehicle is going to break down because we have not maintained it properly. And it's the same way when it comes to our mental health, our emotional health, that we need to ensure that we have an ongoing maintenance plan. And I'm a huge proponent. I think everyone should seek some type of therapy at some point in their life because, as you shared, Sabrina, we all go through something, whether that's from our past, whether it's present, things that we'll be facing in the future. It is just a very therapeutic avenue because in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. And so having that safe space to be able to go to be able to begin to address some of those things that are going on emotionally, to have that outlet to be able to do some problem solving and working through those issues so that we can live productive, healthy, fruitful lives.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I know people that came from good families, and when I say good families, they were loving, nurturing, very supportive families, and then one of the children would start dating someone that was opposite,
Mm.
and they fell into the trap of something.
Mm.
Whether, at first maybe it was good chemistry, or, but there's always warning signs. And we are big proponents of knowing those warning signs, where if you're starting to get isolated and you're being told to change the way you look, and then that person starts to control your money, your accounts, and you're feeling not yourself. Maybe you were outgoing at first and now you're kind of secluded. these are all warning signs that you're in a bad relationship. And to we say, if you're not in a contractual obligation with your significant other, meaning you're not renting, you didn't sign anything, you're not on a lease, you're not married, then leave the relationship. Like even if you're cohabiting, that's a commitment. So if you are in a non-committed relationship, in the sense that you're not you're just dating, and you live where you live and he or she lives where they live, that is a warning sign that these are warning signs that there are other people that deserve your love, your fun, your compassion, your joy. There's plenty of other people out there, so you should not be in a bad relationship. And if I can mention, Rekishia, pornography is a big driver of violence, and I just want to mention it because we're not talking about sexual freedom. We're
Yeah.
all for sexual freedom at Osso Safe. Pornography is the opposite of sexual freedom, and I could talk about pornography alone, like for hours actually. But I know we're pressed for time. I just want your audience to know that to refrain from giving any pornographic materials to our children, especially boys, because we are actually teaching them to be hostile towards girls and women when they grow up. Pornography is 88.2% physical aggression towards women. And there is another branch of pornography actually where the woman is the abuser. She is called a financial dominatrix, but the real title should be a paid sex abuser. And it's very disturbing, very convulsing. And these women infiltrate in our communities, and they do this work in some type of residence, and they do unspeakable, disturbing things on and off camera. So, and it's under the umbrella of pornography, really. This whole like pornography, the way we see it at Osso Safe, there's pornography, and under that umbrella is trafficking, sex trafficking, child rape, financial dominatrix or paid sex abuser, prostitution. It's all very unhealthy, and it contributes to home violence. So thank you for letting me say that. And it's something that people need to have their attention, and it's the opposite of having a good, healthy relationship with someone. So I just wanted to say that.
No, that it's greatly appreciated that you're providing this education and knowledge, because I just don't think, Sabrina, these are things that we talk about enough. But the fact that you have an organization that is willing to be open to have the discussion, to ensure that we have healthy and safe spaces to live and to dwell in. And so, for those that are listening, Sabrina, and they're really taking heart to what you are saying, where can they find you? Where can they access your services on the web?
Yes, my website is ossosafe.com. That's OSSO and then the word safe.com. My email is sabrina@ossosafe.com. I am on all of the major social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And I'm actually doing a live radio show this Saturday on Teen Talk Radio with Ann Wooten Taylor. And I will be discussing actually what to do in the case of a live active school shooting. And this is geared towards teens. And if anyone wants to book us for speaking engagements, whether virtual or in person, there is a book now page on my website. My TEDx talk is broadcast. It's called "If You're a Victim of Home Violence, Don't Leave, Stay." And we speak about why that is. We just spoke about it on your show, why I say that. And yeah, those are the best ways to reach me, really.
Oh, outstanding. And if there could be some parting words that you have for our listeners, Sabrina, what would that be?
Yes, know that each and every one of us deserves to be in a good relationship. When you have the right to be safe in your own home, just because you are a parent does not give you the right to abuse your child. We have to practice safety. We make it a point at Osso Safe to educate on how to practice it, to actually make this a part of one's daily life. It's very important. And to listen a lot, be patient a lot, and breathe a lot with those that you are living with in your household.
Oh, Sabrina, thank you so much for those parting words and for helping our homes, our communities to feel safe where we live, where we work, where we play. It has been my pleasure to host you on the show today, and I wish you much success in the work that you are doing to keep our homes and our communities safe.
Thank you, Rekishia. Thank you for the opportunity again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For health tips, faith-based education, and inspiration, visit www.rockyourworldnaturally.com and on Facebook at Facebook.com/rockyourworldnaturally and Twitter at twitter.com/rockyourworld28.